A little behind here. Hey guys, it's Barry. Get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp. Here we are tonight. Welcome back to the show. Got a kind of a cool show for you tonight. We're going to do some different things. Before we get started, be sure to go to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, like and follow Slide Factory. Look for Spotify, their podcast, and give Get Slydewayz a follow. Help us build our audience. We've got some really good stuff coming up for you. We're about to kind of change gears with this show, so we've learned a little bit. We've gotten some new equipment, and tonight we're going to actually test it out and see if we can't maybe do some how-to kind of stuff on this show too, rather than just talk. We're not going to go away from the talk, but we're going to start teaching you guys how to do some stuff, showing you some cool things that we do. And that way every guest that comes on, maybe they've got a special talent they want to show off. We'll let them be able to do that too. So tonight we're going to talk to Micah Delozier of MFD Motorsports. He's a pretty cool cat to know. He's a very talented guy, knows how to do a lot of different things. He has basically become one of my hands in my motorsports career here. He's one of my mechanics. He wraps for me at the shop at Graphic Effects. He's helping me build that C10 you see in the background on some of these shots. And man, he's got some other little cool talents going too. So we'll dig into that here in just a second. Real quick before we start, tomorrow is the last day to sign up for the Bluegrass Bash that's happening at NCM Motorsports Park on Saturday, so 2 days away. We could still use some more drivers. We've got about 20 or so signed up. You know, that's a little light for the events that we do, so I don't know if everybody's afraid of this road course or what, you know, but get out of the parking lot and get on a road course and really learn how to drift. This is a great place to do it. Huge elevation change, not crazy speed. It looks like it on TV, but it's not. It's not crazy. But it's a lot of good experience, and you'll love the experience of the downhill and the back uphill and all that stuff that we do in the sinkhole. So get signed up, get out there and drive with us. You autocross guys, we've got a humongous paddock that we're going to set up out there in the pits to do a big, fast autocross. You know how Finch likes it. He don't like it little tight and second and third gear stuff. He likes to stretch your legs. So get signed up to autocross with us as well, because you will not want to miss it. You can go to the Slide Factory page. You can go to the Adrenaline Driving Series page. Find the event page. The sign-up link is inside there. So hit on that deal and get signed up and come play with us on Saturday, okay? Right after that, on Monday, is the Hot Rod Power Tour kickoff party at Bowling Green, and we have a really special, cool event planned for the end of that Monday evening deal. We've got some really good drivers lined up, some big horsepower cars. Motor Trend came to us, wanted us to do just a cool show, you know, give some smoke in the air. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a cool competition, but we're going to have some drifty games mixed in with it too. So don't be nervous about that. You guys that are signed up to drive, you're going to love it. If you just like horsepower, you just like cool cars, you need to be at the Hot Rod Power Tour anyway at Bowling Green. Come on up and watch. It'll be a good time. We'll have some fun. And that being said, into the show, Mr. Delozier. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Glad you came, man. That's awesome. We've done a lot of stuff over the years together, and you've made your own little path as well too. So like, golly, I tell people that you're every bit as good as I am laying this vinyl, but that's probably selling you a little bit short, because you were actually rapping before I was. I was still doing sunroofs at American Radio in Knoxville, and you had already gotten a job with Penske Racing over there in the Carolinas.
Yep.
What were you doing for Penske Racing? Like, that's so cool.
I moved to North Carolina to go to school, to one of those like a UTI technical institute kind of thing, to learn how to work on cars and stuff. And then right out of high school, I was able to get on with Penske Truck Leasing at their body shop. So that's where I kind of got into the Penske company, and I loved it. Paint and body work. We basically fixed 18-wheelers and box trucks, to get them ready for auction. So, you know, it wasn't show car paint work, but
Yeah.
it was still the basics, learning
Fiberglass
the ins
work
out,
and stuff like
fiberglass
that.
work,
Yeah.
aluminum. You know, a lot of the cars these days are glued together anyway. You know, we'd
Yeah.
glue hoods and fenders and all that stuff together. So that kind of started it. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I talked to my boss and I was like, "Hey, you think you could make a couple phone calls to Mooresville and see if you
Yeah.
can get me a phone number or something?"
Yeah.
And he was able to, and he got me a hold of John Erickson, which was one of the big guys up there. And as soon as I moved up there, I called him, and he said, you know, I don't have anything for you right now, but, you know, everything's always changing and
Sure.
progressing. So I got your number. I know you do paint and body work and then do some stickers. So we'll just kind of go from there, you know, and, you know, don't go anywhere, you know, just be patient and,
Yeah.
you know, we'll get
Yeah.
back with you. So worked a couple odd jobs, you know, Tire Kingdom and,
Yeah.
you know, stuff
Yeah,
like that. It was awful. And, and I think we moved up there October 31st of 2005.
Wow.
And then in January, after I quit, you know, one of those terrible jobs, like 2 weeks later, John Erickson called and it's like, I think I got something for you.
Nice.
So was able to get my foot right in there on their Le Mans team and was able to take care of all the paint and body work needs and then wrap that whole car. So
The little DHL, the yellow, that was
Yep.
the one, the little Petite
Yep.
Le Mans, little open
Yep.
cockpit car?
Yep, it was a prototype 2 class. It wasn't the full. It was an open cockpit car.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, instead of the windshield.
correct.
Center seat kind
Yep.
of thing.
It was kind of weird. It was a whole capsule. It looked like 2 people could fit in there,
Huh.
but they were just offset to one side, and it was a complete carbon fiber body.
Wow.
And they wanted it yellow and red. So, you know, and I hadn't really wrapped a bunch.
Yeah.
It was more of, you know, those big Penske truck leasing stickers on the side of those box trucks. So it was
Oh,
a pretty
yeah.
big sticker, but,
Yeah.
you know, I knew I could do it. You know, I was probably more comfortable with the paint and body work side
Right.
at that time.
Right.
And then the rest of it's like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was new for everybody, really, at
Oh.
that time. I mean, 06, you know, there was a little bit of wrapping going
Yeah.
on, but it wasn't
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah,
yet.
that's right.
They actually flew some people over from Germany, like from Porsche, and they kind of did a little class and showed us how to wrap their race car.
Wow.
And we just took it from there and got really good at it, and
Nice.
really fast. So
Nice.
and was
Well,
able to make, you know, quite a bit of money. So
That's
it
cool.
was a fun time.
That's cool. So you worked for Penske. You did those race cars. I remember going to the Petite Le Mans at Road Atlanta and seeing those little cars run.
Yeah.
And they were cool looking little cars.
Oh, yeah. The noises that on that racetrack at that race with all the
Yes.
different cars.
Yes.
Some high ones, some, you know, the Cadillac scream by with the big V8.
And then what was it? The Audi had a diesel.
And it was just a hum.
Yeah.
And
it
it
was
would
so
just
low.
go by.
It was so torquey.
And that car was so fast.
I remember
Golly,
that.
it was fast.
I remember
It
those
was-
cars. That was a killer race. That
Yeah.
was fun to go and watch.
Yeah.
We went a couple years in a row to that, just to see that kind of thing. Because Brent used to live, you
Yeah.
know, our buddy Brent
yeah.
that's on here. He
15
was
minutes
15 minutes away
From the track, yeah.
Road Atlanta, so that was really cool.
Yeah. I got to go. I didn't get to go to a bunch of races because I was in school. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'd work. I'd work at Penske in the morning, and then 1 o'clock or whenever I had to be at class, I'd go to class for 6 or whatever hours, and you know, several times
Yeah.
I needed stuff had to be done for the next day, so I'd go back
Oh, wow.
after school, 8 o'clock. You know, I had a keypad so I could get in and
Nice.
I could go spray some whatever they needed sprays and have everything ready for them in the morning when we got there. So
Oh, yeah.
I got to go to, it was Michigan.
Hmm.
So whatever the track that's like
Road course?
Detroit road course.
Have to think about that.
I can't remember what in the world that race
Is that
track
Gingerman?
No, I guess.
Help us out there, people in the comments. What road course is up there in Detroit?
I'm thinking Isle, Grant Isle something. I can't remember, but
Huh.
so they would race in Canada,
Oh.
And then the following week, either right after it or a couple weeks or something, then they went to Detroit. So instead of bringing everything back to Mooresville, they would, Roger, the owner's from, he lives in Detroit and everything. He's got warehouses and stuff. So was actually able to fly to Detroit, rewrap all of the body panels of the car in one of Roger's little personal archives building.
Nice.
And we walk in and all of his pace cars that he's won from all the Indy 500s.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, Ferraris and everything you can think of. And I looked at my boss and it was like, you're going to have to give me a minute because I got to look at all these cars.
I can't
It was
not.
about an hour and a half, and I looked at every single car, sat into every single one of them.
Love that.
And once I got done, it was like,
Okay,
all right,
good.
let's get to work. And we knocked it out. So,
Are you thinking of Detroit Belle Isle?
Belle Isle.
That's it.
Yep, I knew it was an aisle.
Well done, listener. Thank you very much.
Yep, perfect. And that was
Listener, a.k.a. Jimmy.
Jimmy, look that one
attaboy,
up.
Jimmy.
Mr.
That's
Jimmy
my
with
man.
the save.
That's my right hand.
That's right. That's right. Mr. Jimmy
So
with the
we,
save.
We had some good times. It really was fun. It was
Cool.
crazy experiences, getting to see stuff nobody else gets to see.
Yeah.
And it's like that continues on even to this day. We get to do stuff that nobody else gets to do and see stuff nobody gets to see.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good time.
That's a lot of fun. Roger Penske almost ran over me on his Segway at the Nashville Superspeedway one time when the Indy cars were here.
That's
back
awesome.
in about 2010 or 11.
That's awesome.
There was something going on and we were there late, or no, maybe it was really early. I don't remember, but I was coming around the corner of the media center and I had to dive out of the way of Roger Penske on his Segway. Whoa, right through there, and I just had to dart.
He was such a great guy. Even though who he was, he would still talk to you and shake your hand and
That's
say,
cool.
"I appreciate what you do. Thank
Good.
you for everything." He was
Good.
a super cool guy.
That's what good leaders do.
Yeah.
They take the time.
Yeah.
So from Penske,
Graduated school. They wouldn't put me on full time, so I needed to do something.
Yeah.
And I went and got a job with Motorsports Designs. It's one of the biggest wrap companies in North Carolina.
in Mooresville, right there.
Yeah, more or kind of Concord, and
Yeah.
then they had the main location was up in, I can't remember. It's a H word.
They do all the cup teams, all the haulers. They do all the
haulers.
big stuff. So all of a sudden, from
From
just one
a
kind
little
of
bitty
car,
race car.
yeah,
Now I'm wrapping everything, and I mean, me and another guy, we would wrap a hauler in a day,
wow, yeah,
we had a heck of a production team that would get it all made, laid out, cut, rolled up, so we could just show up and roll. And
Yeah.
it was great. I have no idea how many haulers.
Oh
we
my
wrapped.
gosh,
I wonder, if you could go back and figure out the square footage of vinyl.
that you've laid.
Oh my gosh, it has to be in the millions.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then, we still did cars. We still did landscaping trucks. I mean, we did it all. Ford Econo line, E250s, wrapped a million of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
So it's, and then finally, that place was great. It really was.
Yeah.
Then just got to talking, and it's like, how talking with your bosses, it's like, I'm not trying to pry, but how much money are you making? You've been doing this for
Yeah,
8 years, and I really wasn't happy with the number that he said. It's
oh
like,
wow,
so what you're saying is I don't have a lot to look forward to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I kind of cut it pretty short and got out of there, and then went out on my own. And it's funny because I worked at Penske, wrapped a Porsche. I quit, or I basically had to quit on Friday, and then Monday morning I was back at Penske wrapping the same car for Motorsports Designs this time.
Oh,
So
nice.
and then it was about a year. So a year with Motorsports Designs, and then basically quit on a Friday. Monday morning I was back at Penske, but I was actually doing it for myself
On your own.
and then I was getting all the money, and it was great.
Nice,
So
nice,
it was-
nice projection. That's good.
it was,
Nice
it was good.
progression.
It was good.
I like
and
that.
it all just kind of went up from there. So met my wife in Mooresville
Yeah.
in North Carolina.
Yeah, Miss Ashley.
We were together for I guess maybe not even 2 years, and then tied the knot.
Yep.
And I think it's 16 years this year.
16 years.
2008. Yeah, 2008. So in September,
Yep.
it'll be 16 years being
Yep.
married. We were 21, scared to death.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and it's been awesome. I wouldn't be anywhere without her.
That's
like, She
awesome.
is, man. I was not making any money in school, and she was. So it's like, she fed me. We had fun. We went to concerts. We had a blast.
Nice.
So, it's been a ride, man. It's been a ride, but I couldn't do it. Couldn't have
Nice.
done it without her.
Nice.
It's pretty awesome.
It
so,
takes a second hand, It takes that support.
yeah.
Angela doesn't care anything about racing. She doesn't care anything about cars. She doesn't care anything about her dogs and going to the beach and mowing the yard. You know what I mean? But when it came time for us to step out,
Yeah.
when that funny little situation happened, when I had that job and I was doing the vinyl on the side, and all of a sudden there was a big misunderstanding and the job fired me.
Yeah.
And I was, man, 2 or 3 nights, 2 or 3 weeks, I seemed like I laid in the bed crying, begging her, let
Yeah.
me go get a job so we
Yeah.
don't starve to death. And she said, absolutely not. You're going to make this vinyl thing work.
Yeah.
And without her, just like you say, I would have never done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably would have never done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And
Our
look where
girls
we
take
are
care
now.
of us, and now look what we're doing. We're still messing around with this old
Yeah.
vinyl stuff, but it has been a heck of a ride. So you guys, all of a sudden, decided to move to Nashville.
Yeah.
Called old Uncle Bear and said,
Yeah.
"Hey,
It's time. Yeah, we toyed around with the idea of moving up here when we got married,
yeah,
and it was just scared. We were just
Yeah.
scared. It's like,
I'm
well,
kind
we
of glad you didn't
we're
because I
young
was
and-
nowhere near ready for
Yeah.
you, so it would not have
Yeah.
worked very well."
So we did our thing. They stopped running. That Porsche series. So like my gravy sorry, don't hit the table. Gravy went away. So it's like, dang.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting married and I'm gonna have to go get a real job. This kind of sucks.
Mm.
So went and did a couple, auto parts store jobs and got on with a good tire company job and worked there for 3 or 4 years.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then, through situations and stuff happens, lost that job. And then it was like, dang, now what?
Yeah.
And I tried to work at a dealership, got the job that I thought I wanted. I wanted that job. Like if I had to work at a dealership, this is the job I want. And I hated it.
Wow.
Like absolutely hated it.
Wow.
And then you called me and was like, hey, I got this bus I need help,
some help.
wrapped. And it's like, well, sure. I hate this job. So I'll come up there. I think I left on a Friday
Yeah.
and
Come
got
up
up
on a weekend.
and it's funny because we had just bought Ashley a brand new car the night before and took it home, got up in the morning, drove that mother straight to Mount Juliet, had to fill it had to fill it up at the Shell station in Mount Juliet. It made it all the way there on one
Wow.
tank. It's like, this is awesome.
Wow.
And I think it was like that cupcake bus or something. Had to wrap it
Oh
up
yeah,
at
the
GG's
at the airport,
Yeah,
the GG's
yeah.
cupcake bus that they drove from between Texas and
'Cause-
Nashville when they were starting.
Because
that
y'all
deal.
went somewhere and left me there by myself.
Yeah,
and
we did. What
I think
was
you
that?
went down to South Georgia and went drifting or something.
That's possible.
And so it took forever by myself, and then I ended up having to call in sick, Monday because I wasn't done with the bus, and I was nervous and I didn't know what to do. And you're like, just tell them you're sick. And I'm like, but I don't call in sick.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally, I'm like hurting because I
Yeah.
don't call in. I don't lie about
Yeah.
being sick.
Yeah.
If I'm sick, I'm sick. But,
Yeah.
And it's like, so the guy that wanted to hire me, he's like, teaching me how to call in sick. So that was pretty funny. But it's, and, the boss back in North Carolina was like, well, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, and then as soon as I got back, I worked a little bit longer. We were pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
With Guy.
Yeah.
And finally just had enough.
Yeah.
Just I cannot do this.
Yeah.
There's no like real like the future where we were just did not
It was a little town.
and it hadn't like we did very well
Yeah.
for our area.
Yeah.
Like we were above the average median, you know.
Yeah.
And but at that time you still think you're broke and you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have any money and you can't
Yeah.
afford to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't go on vacation for like 7 years.
Wow.
Never
Yeah.
went anywhere because we didn't think we could afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And finally it was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try to sell the house. If we can't sell it, we know enough people here, we can rent it.
Yeah.
And let's do it. Let's roll. You had a bunch of work going on,
Yep.
several big jobs.
Yep.
So, you know, I drove back and forth for
Yep.
3 months,
Yep.
2 or 3
Something
months.
like that, yep.
Like drive up on Monday morning, drive home. And we did that till about a month before Guy was born. And I stayed back and then after he was born, stayed about a month. So it's like we were too scared to move,
Yeah.
you know,
As
6
he
years
was-
ago.
Yeah.
And then, so let's have a baby.
Yeah. And do
then
it right then.
have no job.
Yeah.
And, you know, a kind of a promise of a job. Pretty sure we're going to make some money. And then let's move
Yeah.
7 hours,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah, it's just
anything we've ever known.
pick up
let's
everything
just
and
do
go.
that. So, but it was the best decision we've ever made.
Yeah.
Like it's been absolutely amazing. So,
Awesome. Well, we can't tell you how glad we are that you made that decision. So, folks, that's the end of segment 1. We're going to take a little break here right quick. Be sure to smash that like and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of those, and help us grow this audience. We'll be right back with Micah Delozier on Get Slydewayz. Dream realized today, guys. We spent all day today testing drifting at the sinkhole at the NCM, the National Corvette Museum road course. Myself and Wesley Cloud made several tandem runs, several single pass runs, and as far as we can tell, we've stayed underneath their sound ordinance deal. We've simulated runs where we ran a few seconds apart, 30 seconds apart, whatnot, like you do when you're sitting in line, and everybody up here is really happy right now. And let me tell you, we're going to show you some footage here in a minute. This is the best place to drift on the East Coast, bar none. Do an event up here, be ready, because you're going to get signed up quick. It's going to sell out because there's nothing like it. Coming down that hill, car gets light, grips back up, coming back up that hill, there's no other feeling like it anywhere in the world. It's crazy how good it feels up here. Stay tuned, we're going to get right back with you. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Get Slydewayz with me, Barry Clapp. We're here with Micah Delozier of MFD Motorsports and talking a little history, talking a little bit about. We're kind of getting close to how MFD actually came to be. We've talked about the early days at Penske and motorsports design and all of that. That's kind of how I'm gonna tell you something. You called me one time, and I was in the back seat of a car putting a sunroof in. Mm-hmm. And I had bought me a little 24-inch cutter, and I was wanting to learn how to do vinyl and do stuff like that. I mean, I had done, stuff at a couple of jobs, but nothing really major. Lettered a couple of race cars, stuff like that. And you called me one day, and you were at RCR wrapping a Bass Pro Shops car.
Oh.
And you were so excited you had to call me and tell me. Because you remember when you were a little boy, we were pinstriping something and you wanted to learn, you wanted to watch what I was doing pinstriping something in Pops's garage, or in the driveway even. Yep. And I remember you saying you wanted to learn how to do that kind of stuff. And then I'll never forget, I was in the back seat of that car putting that sunroof in. And I was trying to learn how to do it too. And you calls me from RCR wrapping a daggum cup car. And I was like, way to go, that's awesome. And I hung up and I thought, that little shit, why are you ahead of me, So, people need to know that you've actually been wrapping cars longer than I have. Yeah. You've been laying that stuff longer than I have.
Yeah.
So that's why we make such a good team and everything that we do goes so well. We probably have 50 years of wrap experience between us.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you and I do get to go on a job, how quick, no matter how big it is, how quick that thing can get done. And it's like, we don't even have to talk. We've had people be like, y'all want to turn some music on, or y'all aren't talking or anything. You're kind of making me nervous. And it's like, you don't have to talk. Don't have to say anything. Yeah. We're trying to do this job. We can literally get the job done with very few words.
Yeah.
We can see you need to tug it there. I can tug it here, squeegee there, and we can all do it. It's like a production or like a dance. It's pretty fun. So
when you go on a job with a manager or with a whatever, and the manager's got to tell everybody what to do, and as soon as anybody gets done, they sit down, and the manager's got to jump on them, tell them what to do again, and that's what slows everything down. And I tell everybody that's all the time. When you and I go do something, we just know what we need to do.
Yeah.
We don't even have to say anything to each other. Yeah. And it ain't like we're stuck doing the same thing. If something needs to be done, one of us does it.
Yeah.
If I'm not done, you do it. If you're done and I'm not, it just happens, And
you've even, I remember you saying it a few years ago, because we've done some crazy stuff.
No kidding.
Just weird jobs. And it's just like, how the heck are we supposed to do that?
Yeah.
You're telling me about it, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And a few years ago, you finally, and I was like, what are we doing? And it's like, well, that's kind of weird, but it's all good. And he's like, and you told me, you were like, I used to get really nervous when we'd go out and how are we going to do this? Mm-hmm. But ever since I came and I actually was able to show you that I do know what I'm doing, you're like, I'm really not even worried anymore.
Yeah.
As long as you're with me, we're going to be able to get it done. It's going to be fine.
I told everybody, my favorite thing about having you with me is that I can, even if I didn't do it right, I can hand you the vinyl and turn my back. Yeah. Because I know that even if it isn't exactly the way it's supposed to be, you'll make it right.
Yeah.
You know how to do it.
We'll fix it. Yeah. We'll fix it, and at least,
and it happens.
From a few feet, oh, it looks good.
It happens,
Yeah. No, there's no wrap out there that's perfect. There's no.
It ain't paint. And it ain't made to be looked at right here.
No, and that's probably the common misconception. Yeah. Everybody wants to get right up on it and look at all the edges and look at all this, and it's like it's not a $20,000 paint job. It's a $3,000 wrap.
It's still a sticker.
You gotta stand back a little bit and take the wide angle view and say, man, that looks good.
So my favorite job that we've ever done is when we went to Mooresville for Scott Borchetta.
Yeah.
Because of them guys we walked in on.
Oh, yeah.
So let me set the stage for you folks that don't know that we did this. So 3 years ago, I guess, close to that.
I think so.
Scott Borchetta decided that he wanted to go Xfinity racing, which is the second step down in NASCAR, if you don't know. And he basically just kind of bought some cars or bought a team and hired a crew chief over there in Mooresville, North Carolina. Well, I have been doing Scott's race cars and stuff since I moved to Nashville just about in 2005.
Yeah.
And so it was just natural for him to call me and say, because he loves the way we do things.
Yeah.
He loves my look. He loves,
Yeah.
always make his stuff look great. And so his first initial thing was, I want you to design the Xfinity car. And I was like, sweet, you know.
Yes.
We've gotten to do a
It's
few.
what
but
dreams are made of.
yeah, I mean, and then he was like, we're going to do the hauler too. And I'm like, yes, you know, so this is going to be awesome. So the trick is it was in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they had cars, and they had a hauler, and they had a dyno tuning session or something they had to
Yeah.
be at on Monday morning.
Yep.
And this was Monday a week away, and
Yeah.
we were like, so how many cars is it? And he was like, well, it's at least 2, maybe 3, and the hauler. And we were like, I mean, that's a week and a half's worth of work, man, you know?
Yeah.
So
And they weren't all the same.
no, they weren't the same. And so here's what we did. I have a 36-foot motorhome, and we piled into that motorhome, and we left out of Nashville after work one day on a Wednesday, I think,
Yeah, pretty sure it was Wednesday.
and drove 8 hours over to Mooresville, North Carolina. Got over there at,
8, 9,
Something
it
like
was,
that.
It was after hours.
Yeah.
And it was dark.
Yeah,
it was
it was
getting dark.
and didn't even dock the thing, just backed into their lot and walked in to introduce ourselves to these people who've never met us. They don't know who we are. They think what's crazy that Scott has wasted all this time to bring these guys all the way from Nashville to wrap their cars, because we're in Race City, USA. There's wrappers everywhere, so to speak,
Yeah.
whatever. So we walk in, and it's just me and Micah, and there's 4 or 5 guys in the shop, and the crew chief's in there. What the heck's his name? I know it's on the tip of my tongue. I'll have to think of it. Anyway, I walk in, and that's whose name I called. I'm looking for so like that, and they all kind of stop and look, and he steps forward, and I said, "Hey, we're Scott's wrap guys. We're here to wrap these cars for you." And he says, "Well, look, guys, it's Wednesday night.
It might have been Thursday.
On Monday, maybe it was Thursday.
Because
I
that seems
think
like too many days. I think it was Thursday.
I think it was Thursday night
Yeah.
we got there. You're
Yeah.
right, because that's right, because we had 3 cars and a hauler to do
Yeah.
had to get them done by Saturday,
Yeah.
because they had somewhere they had to go either
Yeah.
Sunday morning or Sunday evening, something like that, to tune one of them, because he's getting ready for Daytona.
Yep.
They were down to the wire.
Yep.
So Thursday night, 7 or 8 o'clock, we roll in. We talk to the crew chief, and he makes it clear to us. The most important thing is to get the hauler done and to get that one Daytona car. The rest of them, I don't care if you get them done or not. And I said, okay. I said, well, if it's all the same to you, we're here to wrap 3 cars and that hauler, and we're going home on Saturday. And he looked at us like we were crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He rolled his eyes at us.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he was like, all right, whatever.
We walked around the shop just for a minute, just check the place out. And it was nice.
It was clean. It was good.
It was a nice.
There's 4 or 5
shop.
cars in there, a couple
And-
lifts, whatever.
Like it's probably 9 o'clock, and we kind of look at each other, and it's.
I said,
So,
you want to knock one of these mothers out tonight? And he
you
goes,
ready?
you mind if, I said, you mind if we just stay and do one tonight? And he goes, well, I don't care like that. So we did. They all left and went home.
Yeah.
And we wrapped the first car that night.
Yeah.
And then we went to bed. And what was funny was we slept in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They woke us up. They woke us up on Friday morning. They pulled a car right up beside the RV,
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
and was revving the motor at 9 o'clock because we
Goodness
weren't out of
gracious.
bed yet.
Yeah.
Because they were scared to death that we were just dicking around.
Yeah.
So we go over to Ray Evernham's shop
Yeah.
to start wrapping the hauler at about
Yeah.
10 o'clock,
Yeah.
And we'd made buddies with the driver, and he'd gone and gotten us lunch. He was a cool old cat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't remember his name either, but that was really fun. So that crew chief guy comes over there at about 3:30 in the afternoon to check our progress, thinking that we're probably halfway down one side. We had one side and the back door already on it.
Yeah. And
From
starting on
from
the,
10 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and we were already that far on that thing. And he
rolling.
could not believe it. He thought something weird was going on. He could not believe it. And I'll never forget what he said when we started to leave. He said, I have seen guys wrap a car in I have seen a crew of guys wrap a car in 4 hours.
Yeah.
He said, but I've never seen 2 guys wrap a car
Yeah.
in 4 hours.
And it actually looked good.
And it looked good. Yeah. And so we did it. We wrapped that hauler, And then we went to dinner that night and took a break because we were pretty tired. And then we got up Saturday and finished the hauler, finished the other car, and we was on the road by 2 o'clock in the afternoon headed home.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That was a great day. That was a great little trip. Just seeing his face and that he could not believe that we laid that much vinyl that fast, and it looked good.
Yeah.
That was good times. So let's pick up where we were on your story. You had you'd moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
You had a baby born.
Yeah.
We were doing we had a lot of work, but then the work kind of, like it does in this industry, you get it comes in waves, and then it got a little slow again, so you kind of had to get a job.
Yep. Yeah, you were by yourself.
Yeah, that was before I had anybody.
You have somebody kind of help every now and then, or try to hire somebody, and it just never really worked out.
It wouldn't work.
So you had a notepad and it was full.
Yeah.
And then by the time you do something, somebody else call, and it's like, well, it's gonna add you to the list.
Yeah.
And it's when I got there, we were able to check. I mean, quickly we checked everything off the list, and it's like, well, now what? It's like, well, usually before I get close to the end, somebody else calls, and there's something else to do. But we were able to actually do it so fast. So Ashley had gotten a job at a salon, and one of the workers there, her husband needed some help on his truck, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. Head gaskets on a Chevy truck, So they'd bring it to the house. I do heads, just trying to make some money, and ended up, if you ever need any help, construction stuff, I mean, I've done it all. Just let me know. And that turned out to be a great relationship started. And when everything did kind of slow down, I was able to, I did that one job for Jay. I worked for Jay's company for that little bit first. And
remind me on
14, 15, because he kept coming to the shop, and he's like, you can weld? And it's like, yeah, I can weld. He's like, we got to build.
Oh, yeah,
Jay
Beebe. I couldn't think of who Jay was. Jay Beebe, that's right.
Yeah, we got to weld.
That's right.
This big gate
Rollins.
in front of this cave. Yeah, Rollins Excavation.
Rollins Excavation,
company.
yeah.
So
you were putting the gate on the cave that's in Rutherford County.
Yeah, so, he said he needed a welder, so it's like, yeah, I can weld. So, I agreed to do it, and definitely had time. It was winter. It was cold. It was either March or January or something like that. Snowing outside and stuff. Me and Ashley and Guy drove around Murfreesboro and Nashville, everywhere we could, like Academy, all that, trying to find some bibs, because I didn't work outside, having to find something warm so I don't die. And I get there thinking, this big, huge company that, there's going to be a crew, and we're going to build this gate, and I'm going to weld it together.
Yeah.
And I get there, and he's like, well, here's your plans. And he rolls out this book of blueprints. And he's like, I got you a helper coming. And,
let me know when you're done.
See you later. And it was like, huh? Like, I've never even seen blueprints. Why is there so many lines on it, And he takes me over to the job. We got to go rent a generator. And it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that welder will do what you want to do. And, I mean, had to make it.
Wow.
Like, the structure. The only thing they did was pour some pads and drill a rod. I had a rod for me to weld on.
Wow.
All the uprights, all the crossbars, made everything.
Wow.
And I mean, it's literally snowing several days, and I'm sitting there laying in the mud welding this stupid thing together. And
I forgot about that.
Gosh.
Like you, I probably put that out of my mind.
Yeah. And it's still standing. I Googled it the other day. We need to go
by and take your picture
'cause,
beside it. Yeah.
My mother it was like 120 foot long. It was 120 foot by 7 or 8 feet of 4-inch angle with 2 pieces of 1.5 inch welded on the inside of it. I mean, it was a lot.
Wow.
I don't remember how many rolls of wire I went through.
Oh, gosh.
A bunch. So, got way underpaid for that job. It's like, now if I'd have known, I should have made a lot of money on that. But you got me on that because I was broke and I starving.
Yeah.
And so worked a little bit, and then ended up working with Frank. And a couple years we worked on,
Yeah.
$1 million homes.
Yeah. Built some really cool stuff.
In Brentwood and Franklin and, all those, fancy homes. And it's like, we won't go into that. But, we've ripped the side of a house off and rebuilt it because the foundation gave in, rebuilt foundations.
Because they weren't built right
all
to begin
kinds
with.
of stuff.
Oh,
so
gosh.
we did some really cool stuff. So, and then he was hard to work for. He was a good guy, but he was, we'll just leave it there. And he called me one day when I was on the way home and said, I no longer need your help. And it's like, okay, cool.
Sweet.
I just spent my paycheck on a Chevy truck with a service body on the back
so
of
that
it.
I could work for you.
So that I could have all my stuff and cool.
Great.
So and I was still kind of coming by the shop and, helping and a little bit. So it's not like I totally just disappeared and never did anything.
Yeah.
And came back and it was kind of like, well,
I'll never forget that day.
you ready to get this mother rolling?
You said, you ready to blow this place up? And I said, sure. And he goes, well, I need a job. I'm like, okay.
I'm back.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And luckily, from that point on, it took off. It really did.
It really did.
So, and it's all uphill from there.
Still going. Still going. That's all you can say about it. Still going.
And then just trying to make it work, and it's worked.
Yeah.
Everything's worked. Ashley's doing great.
Yeah.
She's actually got her own salon now. She's not
Fantastic.
working for somebody else. She's got her own suite. Been doing it for a couple of years now.
Fantastic.
Had another baby.
Yeah.
Little Levi.
Yeah.
She's a firecracker.
She is, man. She is so much fun.
Yeah. So everything's great. It really is. Best decision we've ever made moving up here.
Well, we're so glad you came, man. It's awesome. We've had a blast having you, and we've had a blast watching the kids grow up.
Oh, yeah.
They come over here and play with the frogs out in the pond behind the house, or that snake we found in the shop last weekend.
Yeah, Barry wasn't here for that one.
I missed
we was
it.
wrapping a 30-foot Baja boat in here and turn around and there's a snake trying to crawl up the glass
Right
back
on that
here.
glass window right there.
It's like, oh my goodness. So it's like Brent's son Tucker was here and I was like, Tucker, come get this snake. Made him grab it, So I'm trying to wrap this boat, so I don't need to get bit by a snake or anything.
Yeah, no kidding. I got the skin laid over here somewhere. I'll have to find it.
So kids love that.
Yeah.
So that worked out really good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh man.
So,
Amazing.
man alive. So since you've been here, we've got to grow. We've actually got to hire some extra people because of the speed, and then the work came, and then the extra people came, and we've grown to where there's 5 of us in the shop now.
Yeah.
And that's really been a ride for me because even though I always wanted to own my own thing, I never wanted to be somebody's boss.
Yeah.
And I hate being people's bosses. I don't want to be that guy that has to tell people what to do. I hate that part of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like y'all don't work for me. We work together. That's the way I like to see it. And that's the way I try to treat everybody.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, something has to happen, but...
Yeah. But on the other end of that, I've worked for some... worked for some beeps, holes.
Yeah.
And we don't always get along. We don't always see eye to eye.
Yeah.
But... man, it could always be worse.
Oh, my gosh.
And if as a boss, you're a great boss. You're almost too good sometimes. It's, it's one of those things, well, you kind of should say something because this is pretty crappy.
I'm too nice.
You do need to put your foot down because we're all getting walked all over or somebody's getting walked on or something. But, I wouldn't trade it. It's fine.
I know I'm too nice. Sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes I get real aggravated and I think, you know what I'm going to do? And then when it comes down, I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm too nice. I got to have everybody's love.
Yeah. So
I got too many irons in the fire to make somebody mad.
That's right. He got too much stuff to build. And that's one of the things you talk
many
about,
projects.
like all the stuff that I can do and learn how to do.
I was like, sweet, awesome.
I did a lot and a little bit. And I've picked up a lot of stuff, before I came here, but getting thrown in the wolves. I think the first thing, we had the Bunny, the 240 race car that was in pieces when I got here.
Well, the first thing was the Cadillac.
Oh, yeah.
You got here and I throwed you under that Cadillac
that
and rebuild the transmission.
Yeah, because I pulled the trans and took it back to North Carolina and had a guy in North Carolina before I moved here
Yeah.
build the mother. And then I can't remember if it was after Guy. It was probably still before Guy. And brought it back and put the trans in that.
Yeah.
I think we only drove it around a couple times.
That poor old thing.
It was rough.
It ended up in the junkyard. Old man came along and bought it.
Yeah.
Had to have it.
That
It wasn't ready to drive.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I had his check and I turned around. He's driving off in it. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Easy.
But there he went, you know,
Yeah,
and I never heard from it again. And then
Yeah.
people sent me pictures of it in the junkyard.
I remember that.
Poor old thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a good one, though. 1968 Fleetwood 70 Series factory limousine.
Yeah.
That's what it said on the
Yeah.
title. The name of that car was that long. That was good times, though. It looked killer. All right, guys, that's section 2. I'm telling you, when you got fun stuff to talk about, it just blows by. So I hope you're listening. I hope you're enjoying it. Be sure and follow and subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. Look for Slide Factory. Follow and like on Slide Factory. Slide Factory is where we show the show live here on Facebook, but then we put it on YouTube and all those other good places. When you go to Spotify, it's for radio. You got to do the podcast thing and then look up Get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp on there. We're going to take a little break and we'll be back, and we're going to go over there and look at that beautiful C10 and maybe do a little work on it and show you some things we're doing. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Finch with Finch Performance, and we're just going to take a quick little peek around the shop here to see some of the different things that we work on around here. So first up, we've got some chassis in production. We've got a small backlog right now, but we're knocking out some 67 to 72 C10 stuff. We've got a really cool 67 crew cab Chevy here, C10. We've made a custom one-off Apex Predator chassis with long arm suspension all the way around. This thing's going to be pretty badass. 56 F100 with a Coyote 10-speed. Just all we got left here is really getting the supercharger installed, finishing up the wiring and a little bit of the fuel system, get it fired off. And then, of course, we're back on our Ferrari 308 custom project here with the LT5 engine and a Graziano 6-speed transaxle. So this thing is going to be full kill, badass. And that's just some of the things that we do here. So we don't just build trucks, we build a lot of everything. Main thing is we have a good time, because that's what it's about.
If you guys are interested in getting a vehicle wrap done, or if you guys just need a banner made for your office or something cool like that, a mural on your walls, give Graphic Effects a call. 615-896-4301. They're in Middle Tennessee. They're the best in the business of what they do. If you need vinyl, you need stickers, you need wraps, give these guys a shout. Graphic Effects, 896-4301, 615 area code. You can't beat them. They're the best in the business.
All right, guys, so here we are in the shop. This is the first time we've tried to do this from the very first episode where we lettered that old race car. In the background is the C10 that I'm building to be able to do autocross and that kind of thing. Not that it won't get Slydewayz a little bit, it probably will. But this is a C10 that we've built over the last, well, we're about a year into this project. It's got Finch's Apex Predator chassis underneath it. It's got Big Bear brakes on it. It's got a big motor in it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Micah and I have been working on doing the front end of this thing. So if you want to come around the corner here, I'll show you what we've been into. Come on over here, Mr. Jimmy. So we've been working on, we've got the motor in, we've kind of got the front end mocked in place, and now it's time to do radiator, AC condenser, heat exchanger for the blower, all that good stuff. So what we've done is we've put it all together. You know, when you're building a car, you've got to blow it apart and put it back together 3 or 4 times to make sure everything's right. And we've finally got everything the way we want it. And so we're going to kind of take some stuff back apart to be able to send this core support off to be coated. So we wanted to show you kind of how we did it. So Micah, kind of to walk them through what you did here and how we were able to get everything in there looking so good and so tight.
Yeah, so biggest thing when you're building anything like this is you need everything that you can possibly have that's going to go where you need it. So, you know, the main truck's painted, but we didn't paint any of this yet because we weren't exactly sure if we were going to have to drill holes somewhere, if we've got to notch something. So we ordered a nice aluminum radiator. We've got vintage air, condenser, and then a heat exchanger for the supercharger. Once we had everything, those 3 things, that's all that's going to go up here. Then we can start measuring, holding it up. I was able to make these aluminum brackets, just a couple measurements. That worked out good. The condenser came with a couple different brackets, and we were able to modify them just a little bit, but it all fit inside the core support pretty good. We've got everything with the little nutserts, so we were able to do that. So now everything is just screwed in. We don't have to like hold a nut on the backside with a wrench. Everything's just going to screw in. That way, if you ever do have any problems, you can actually unbolt it. You don't have to cut anything. Fix it, put it all back together. So we're probably just going to blow all this apart. That way we can kind of metal finish this aluminum and get it ready, because we do have to do a little bit of modification to the core support to be able to actually bolt the AC lines into it. So you got the condenser here, you got an inlet and an outlet, and so we're going to kind of take a hole saw and go through part of this brace. That way we can have the lines go straight through, and then be able to have your accumulator and everything, and then hide all the lines through the fender and go up to the actual vintage air unit in the dash. So yeah, we want to just kind of start unbolting this. If y'all haven't used I guess people call them riv nuts too. Man, they're awesome. Like,
Oh, dude, that's the way to go.
like I've
Unless
used,
you mess up and drill the big hole through the front surface. I'll have to show everybody my little boo boo up there after a while, but we'll get to that later.
It definitely happens. You want to hold that.
Yep,
so
let me hold that
don't
for you.
fall. Yeah, I've done it too. Like this, you know, one tip. You know, step bits are cool and all, but when you're doing the riv nuts, the size of the hole is very important. And if you accidentally go 1 notch too far with a step bit, it doesn't work anymore. And
So that's your heat exchanger for the blower and the custom brackets that we built to be able to install that out in front. Got a little bit of clearance on the back side of it to get it up in front of where the AC condenser is in front of the radiator. So you got heat exchanger, blower heat exchanger in front, then AC condenser, and then the radiator. So let's look at getting that baby out.
yep, need to lower it. lower it
Drop her
down.
down a little. Let's see, let me raise it up a little and pull that strap over there. Pull the release and then ease her down. Best thing I've ever bought in my life. Freaking awesome. Good right there. Let me raise her up. Solid. Easy there, girl.
Oh, shake. So Barry's made him some custom panels here out of aluminum to cover up all the ugly on top of the core support.
Man, some of them older trucks had really pretty core supports. They were really plain. When they got to the square body, they just used stamp pieces, and it's ugly like all this mess. It just bumps and everything. It's just hideous. So you actually sent me a picture of a guy that had done one that looked pretty cool,
Yeah.
and I took what he had done and kind of went a little further because he didn't even cover it all.
Nope.
And he just made a front plate, and it was straight. It turned up in between all the little braces.
Yep.
Well, when I take this off, you'll see how far I went. I cut this mother up and beat it with a hammer to get it down where we can make this really nice slick piece. And shout out to old Chris West, our buddy at Shake and Bake Powder Coat, for powder coating these babies satin black after I got them all made. Let me pop these babies out. So we'll set this off to the side. See how ugly that is? I mean, just awful looking. So pop this baby. I'll hold the radiator. Set that off to the side. We can leave those little guys in. They're not hurting us. So we'll pull the radiator out. It just sits in the factory location actually. Nice, sexy little cold case, polished aluminum radiator. Bend in it where I let it fall against the pulley. And now we're going to see if we can't undo the couple of nuts we put in there and get the condenser out.
So if you want to come around here, like you can see our lines, you know, are here and down there, and this brace is right in the way. This condenser wasn't technically made for this truck. It was made for a little bit newer truck, so it doesn't just bolt in and the lines won't bolt right on. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to clearance this brace a little bit, and then we'll take a piece of metal and weld it in there so it all finishes nice, and it'll look like it's factory. And then on the bottom one, it looks like we'll just be able to take a hole saw and cut a hole directly through, and if we line it up right, then we can just bolt that right back on. And then our accumulator or dryer, it can go right here, and then we can snake all the lines in through the inner fender, and you won't see anything but just a little bit of lines going to the actual AC compressor. So it ought to finish out really good actually. So yeah.
Do we need a wrench? We need a wrench on the back side of that, don't
No, we should just
we? Or
be
does
able to.
this pop out?
Yeah, we should just be able to take those four out. And
You
then
take this
come
guy
out.
off
I
to
need
get
to
to
mark. I need to mark this down here.
You want me to pull this front little fascia to give us some room? Because
Yeah.
that nut's kind of down behind that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I forgot. We put that all together before we put that in there. Yep. LSA supercharger on a 6.2. So we talked about the heat exchanger that that's in front, and inside here you actually have two little, they almost look like mini radiators, and so we've got coolant that's going to come in and then come out to help cool that air off. A supercharger produces a lot of heat because it's actually compressing the air. Anytime you take air and you compress it real fast, it's going to heat up. So what that'll do is that'll allow coolant to flow, help cool that air back down to get a denser fuel air ratio and make some power. So it ought to run pretty good. It's the same supercharger that we had on the drift taxi a few years ago. We just kind of freshened it up with some paint. Different motor than what was in the drift taxi. This one's just a mild built 6.2 square port head motor. So we don't have to use the adapters on this one. It just bolts right on. It's going to turn out really good. Hopefully put down 650 or something like that.
That'd
and
be sweet.
It ought to be good. We've got a smaller pulley than what the stock one is.
It's a little bitty thing. It's like a 2 point. It's barely 2 inches. 2.1 something. It's about the smallest one they make from the top.
It ought to roll out
It
pretty
ought to
good.
make some power. Take this little front fascia off so we can get to the nuts. Do that one this way. Get that baby out of the way. Rock you a second. There we go. Let me see if I can get this one loose here. Rest of it. The easiest thing to get in there too, them things sometimes. Come on out of there, old girl. This is the beauty of doing this stuff live. See, if we were like had the budget of those hot rod boys over there at Power Nation, we could edit all this down into about a 20-minute show, and then we'd look like Superman. But this is what really happens behind the scenes.
Should have brought the power tools out.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. We'll use them.
Trying to be quiet.
Yeah, we were trying not to make noise. So there's the front fascia out of the way. And we'll just stack this in here. We'll put those bolts back in place so we don't lose them. We'll paint those before the final assembly, make those look nice. Those are from 1985. Those are original bolts. Not many of those left, but those are the real thing. That's what you need now, boss.
I'm just gonna try to make a mark before we take it out. That way I can actually see where it needs to go.
Break them loose. You good?
Oh yeah.
So because they're nut certed in, once you pop them loose, you just pull the screw. Much easier. The nut cert's up inside the bracket. There we go. That's gonna hold it. Yep, there she is. There she is. So you see, we put our nut certs in the bracket itself, and then drilled a hole through the core support, and then that's how it mounts nice and easy and comes in and out pretty quick.
So the other part of that, we did the vintage air under the dash in here.
Maybe come this way, then come around and shoot under there, and you can see a pretty clear path.
So we did this last week. Come in, and this is we got a universal kit, so none of these brackets just bolt into this truck. So pretty much just kind of sitting here holding it where it needs to be. And there was a couple spots up there in the back that we were able to reuse part of the existing bracket that was there, and then made a couple aluminum brackets to finish it off. Down here, just made a little stand. Pretty simple. We've got a little metal brake and a shear in here. Did some bead rolls on it just to make it sturdy. And it seems like it's not going to go anywhere throwing it around the track. So once we get some lines made, then it could almost be buttoned up and not have to get taken apart anymore. So that's where we're at right now.
You can see how ugly that core support is, and of course I beat on it and cut all the bracing out of it so we could make it pretty. So
Looks like you chewed it.
well, I did it with a chainsaw, but it had a pinch weld that stood up that tall. I mean, and it was just awful looking, so I cut part of that off, bent that back down around, and that's why we made those nice pretty panels to go over and cover all that stuff so that you don't have to look at all that ugly.
Yeah.
I've got the right thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and take this lights out too, and that way this core support will be ready for its final coating so that the final assembly can go back together. Our goal is to make the Triple Crown rod run at the Super Speedway in September. That's a lofty goal. It's going to take some doing to maybe get it that far that fast, but we're going to give it a shot, because that Triple Crown is that weekend. We're going to be doing the Share the Ride at that show, and then the golly, right after that is the C10 Nationals in Texas. I mean in Nashville, and that's what this truck is for. It's made to be at the C10 Nationals and to be given rides and stuff.
Yep.
So that's the goal with this baby. So we'll see. And real quick, let's talk about that water pump for that heat exchanger as well. A lot of people don't know that those blowers actually, they don't necessarily go through the radiator. There is a little radiator inside that cap, and that has its own water pump system, and this is the little pump we've chosen to use.
Yeah, we've got this, so it just keeps it a separate system, so that, you know, we would love for that air to not be 220 degrees of what the motor runs at. So we'd like to get it a lot farther down, you know, hopefully around 100, 125. So it looks like, depending on everything else hose-wise to get everything cleaned up, I think we're going to be able to mount the water pump down here. It's got a bunch of different holes to where shouldn't have a problem making a bracket, and if we can get it somewhere in the vicinity of this, our headlight up here is going to protrude through the firewall or through the core support a little bit, but this lower one's real thin. So if we were able to make a bracket and get it right here, our lines coming out of the heat exchanger are already coming this direction, so I don't think it'll be anything to, you know, come out in and connect to there. And then our top one can come out, because we have to have a reservoir as well. Just like your radiator, you got to have a cap and you got to have a way to fill it. So we could put a little reservoir somewhere down here low as well, so to be able to go from the pump to the reservoir and then lined over. I think that'll work. It's definitely, we have enough room for it. Something along those lines. Do you have the reservoir?
No, we haven't got that far.
Okay.
We're going to either have to make something cool or see what Mr. Russ at Summit has for us.
I gotcha.
He takes pretty good care of us, gives us really good deals on stuff, so we'll have to see what he's got in store for us on that.
Yeah.
So that's segment 3, guys. That was quick, that was fast, but that gives you a little idea of kind of what we try to do on the side here. You know, we wrap cars, we do all kind of stuff. We both drive. We do these events for you guys to get out to come out and play with us, but we build cars too, man, and this is a really slick truck. This is going to be a nice build. So hopefully by Triple Crown or by the C10 Nationals, you're going to want to look for this white C10. It's an 85. The only thing that we haven't replaced on this truck is the cab itself. Everything on this truck is brand new metal. Nothing survived from the old truck. The old thing was in such bad shape that it was literally cheaper to buy new panels than it would have been to fix all the rust that was in this poor old girl. So we're going to take another little break. We're going to come back. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more, but anyway, this is the kind of thing that we try to do. We don't just talk about it, we actually do it. So we'll be right back on Get Slydewayz. Realize today, guys, we spent all day today testing drifting at the sinkhole at the NCM, the National Corvette Museum road course. Myself and Wesley Cloud made several tandem runs, several single pass runs, and as far as we can tell, we've stayed underneath their sound ordinance deal. We've simulated runs where we ran a few seconds apart, 30 seconds apart, whatnot, like you do when you're sitting in line, and everybody up here is really happy right now. And let me tell you, we're going to show you some footage here in a minute. This is the best place to drift on the East Coast, bar none. when we do an event up here, be ready, because you're going to get signed up quick. It's going to sell out because there's nothing like it. Coming down that hill, car gets light, grips back up, coming back up that hill, there's no other feeling like it anywhere in the world. It's crazy how good it feels up here. Stay tuned, we're going to get right back with you. Here we are. We're back at the table now. We're going to sit back down and talk a little bit about what we've just been doing. So you guys give us some feedback of what you just saw, because we feel like on this show we want to do more than just talk. We want to show you some stuff. We want to kind of do some cool builds or whatnot. If you notice in the background, there might be a couple of more projects laying over there that we could do shows about building them as well. So give us some feedback about that. Tell us what you'd like to see, if you think that's kind of cool idea to do that way, or if you think we need to just stick with talking, But I feel like we could do some really neat build type things on this show. So be sure and give us a good follow and a subscribe and a like and all that good stuff. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify. We're on all of those different platforms. So give us a holler and let us know what you think, about what we're doing. Tell your friends. Share it up. We need to kind of grow our audience. So we've had a great night tonight. We really enjoyed doing this. Mike and I have been thinking about how to do this for the last few weeks, and we hope we did it well enough to you can understand what we got going on over here. So Micah, what else do you have to add, my man? Like shout outs to the fam, shout outs to the friends. Who all are we thankful to have in our lives with this auto racing type deal that we're doing? You know what I mean?
Yep. Obviously, thank you to my wife for putting up with me being out till 8, 9 o'clock, helping. I help everybody. Yeah. So, and I can't help it. If somebody, has got a question, they're always calling me. I'm always open. The phone's always on. I am the one that wakes up and takes a phone call. just thank you for sticking with me. We've met so many awesome people. Scott Baker and Adam, at Frame to Finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Scott's doing their next level trailer rentals.
Yep.
And they're renting cars. So
Yep.
if you ever need a trailer to, he's got an enclosed. He's got several open trailers. He's even got a 2-car hauler. If you're
Dump trailers too.
dump trailers,
like-
really anything you need trailer wise, you can go on their website, give them a call, book it. It's actually a pretty easy process.
Yeah.
He can definitely get you taken care of doing
If you
anything
buzz
like
by
that.
if you buzz by the shop anytime, there'll be a car or a truck or a trailer. They all got QR codes on them. You can snap them right there on your phone and go right to their site and figure out how to do that. Piece of
Yep.
cake.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Other than that, it's just us,
we
ain't it?
Yeah, pretty much us. And Jimmy, couldn't do this without
Man.
Jimmy. The everyday
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah.
Home. It's everything. We even got Elijah here today. Elijah helps me out in the shop every now and then. I've got a C10 that I'm building, quite not this caliber, but we just did a stainless exhaust on it. The first one I ever built, and
Yeah.
it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
He did one side.
Yeah.
We did it together, and then he welded it up. And it's like, I could do that. And then by the time he came back a few days later, like I had it done. So so that was fun. He's been able to get me a little bit more proficient with the TIG welder. And,
Awesome.
so that's been good. We've, always got something going on. My C10 will be for sale soon. So be looking for that on my Instagram and TikTok at MFD Motorsports.
That's right. That's right.
Give me a like, follow.
Yeah.
But I finally got my dream car over there. Just
Oh,
threw
yeah.
out, one of those things about moving
Yeah.
to Tennessee and
Look at
being
that baby.
successful and just, man, it finally happened. I've had a couple of them, and they weren't really it. And I got the opportunity to buy this a couple years ago. and,
Really nice
man,
car.
I love this
It's
thing.
a beautiful car.
So look for it.
What's Ashley think about that?
She hates the car. Golly. And it's like, it's a sensitive subject. Once I finally got this one, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful, she finally did
Yeah.
say, okay, it's pretty.
Yeah. The
But-
two before maybe I can see, but
Yeah.
it's hard to hate on this piece
Yeah.
of machinery right here. This is a beautiful car.
Yes. So,
Yeah. And you notice that one sitting over there beside it.
yep.
Man
Got-
alive. Show that again, Jimmy. Show that beast sitting over there next to it. So that is your grandfather's 1970 GTO convertible that he bought, second owner, in 1975.
Yep.
So that one's on the list. That'll
Yep.
be on the chopping block soon. We're going to try to bring it back to life.
Yeah, I never got to ride in that one. It was
Did you not really?
no, like I remember seeing it was in the garage. It's,
Yeah.
cracked blocks everywhere from,
Oh my gosh.
Pontiacs. They don't like 5,000 RPMs.
They don't.
And
Not for any time.
that's where he kept it.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
He
He drove
split a
that
couple
thing
blocks in half, and I seen it in the garage. I seen it in the driveway. I seen it parked down by the trees. So it's had a little bit of a rough life, but
Yeah.
it's on its way back. It's gonna get revived. And
Yep. Some pieces of it are already at our friend Chris West's house to be sandblasted, and then they'll be headed up to Scott's place to be put in an epoxy primer to protect them, and till we can get time to put her back together. So that is underway. We'll show you that one. We're gonna maybe do some of that one on the show as well. That one's gonna take a while. You can tell it's in pretty rough shape, but we're going to work on it. We have all the UMI suspension parts in the closet over here already, so we might even start working on that before too much longer, before we get the body done, so we could at least do that part of it. And we're thinking about, we've got a neat little SN95 Mustang sitting over here in the corner. It's actually outside to make room for everything. And we might just, I was bragging on Scotty D there, his deal last week. He's given us a bunch of parts to basically build a drift car out of that thing. Nice. So I think we're gonna go pretty deep into it. I think we're gonna put a cage in that car. We're gonna paint that car, make it nice, put a full Scotty D suspension underneath it, and a dual rear caliper setup, angle kit, all of that stuff. So. Got a set of BC Racing coilovers from him to do it too, so we ought to be able to do a really nice build on that car, so be looking for that. That's coming down the pike. Guys, we're going to wrap up a little. Well, we're actually already over time, so we're not going to do a full 20 minutes right here. We're going to just kind of recap what we got coming here. Tomorrow is the last day to sign up for the Bluegrass Bash, at NCM Motorsports Park. We'll be up there from 8 to 5 on Saturday, drifting on the sinkhole section, the east course, and autocrossing on a big old paddock out there, man. It's humongous, so it'll be a big, fun autocross. That's the way Finch likes to put them together anyway. So that's on Saturday. Hot Rod Power Tour's kicking off on Monday at Beach Bend. Then they make a stop at the Nashville Super Speedway on Tuesday before they head over into Carolina, and I think they end at ZMAX. By the end of the week. I think that's where they're ending up. So that's a cool show. Go up there and be a part of that if you can. Coming down the pike, July 6th, our regular drift event, autocross event at the Nashville Super Speedway. We'll have that event page up here soon so you can start signing up for that. And then we've got another one the first Saturday in August. I don't know what that number is right off my head. We're going to turn that one into the Music City Muscle Car Challenge. So be watching for the Music City Muscle Car Challenge. We're going to try to make a car show out of that instead of just our normal come and drive type show. You know what I mean? We're going to get more of the community involved, get some pretty cars out there to take a look at. I'm going to make a bunch of flyers, and we're going to pass them out during the C10 Nationals and during the Triple Crown so we can draw some more people in. And we're playing around with the idea of drifting on the regular 1 and 2 end, autocrossing on the 3 and 4 end of the road course, and cool. Utilizing the downhill bus stop. So we're going to maybe experiment with doing that a little bit and get some more speed for you grip driver guys. So with all that being said, go back and hit follow, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, and Facebook. Facebook Live here every Thursday night at 6 o'clock Eastern. No, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. It's Get Slydewayz with me, Barry Clapp. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.